Before starting the planer, clear the machine and table area of chips, tools, and any other material that could get in the way of cutting during the operation. Keep hands away from any moving part and never look around or carry on a conversation or horseplay while using the planer. Keep the work area around the planer free from scraps, sawdust, or grease. The use of anti-skid floor strips is recommended for floor areas around the planer. Disconnect the electrical service and the circuit breaker before making any service adjustment to the planer or before changing the blades. On this planer, there's no need to disconnect the electrical service after each use because our on and off switch has a safety mechanism built in that doesn't allow the planer to turn on accidentally. Use industrial quality eye protection and ear protection whenever you're using the planer. Remove any loose jewelry such as finger rings, bracelets, and watches. These items have the potential to get caught in the machine. Never attempt to surface lumber that is shorter than the distance between the infeed and the outfeed rollers. Bed rollers should be adjusted in maximum height when surfacing rough lumber and a minimum height after the lumber has been smooth on both sides. Make sure you always plane boards alternating sides. The variable speed control should be set to a maximum feet per minute when only rough finish is desired and a low feet per minute when a fine finish is desired. In this class, we always use a slow feed rate. If the planer becomes overloaded during the cut, stop the machine, wait until the cutter head completely stops, then lower the table to clear the work. Kickbacks may occur if the stock is removed from the planer before the cutter head completely stops. Never stand or walk directly behind the machine when it is in operation. When feeding material into the machine, stand to the nearest side to the switch. Never stand behind a piece of lumber being planed, as kickback can cause serious injury. Do not overload the planer by trying to cut more than the capacity of the machine. The depth of cut will depend upon the width of the lumber, the rate of feed, and the type of lumber you're cutting. The depth of cut should never be set more than 1/16 of an inch. On a board that's 6 inches wide or wider, we always take 1/4 turn or 1/64 of an inch cut. On a board that's 6 inches or less, you can take a full 32nd or 1/2 of a turn on the handle. Make certain all guards are in place and securely fastened when using this machine. Never force material through the planer. If the lumber does not feed properly, stop the machine and have the instructor help you correct the feed problem. Pass lumber around the planer, not over it, when running lumber through the planer a second time. Make sure the board to be planed is free of knots, paint, varnish, nails, dirt, glue, and grease. When using the planer, you don't ever use plywood because the grain goes cross grain after each layer. So never put plywood through a planer. And we don't ever put round stock through a planer either. There's no flat surface and the stock would not cut correctly. To turn on the planer, you push the safety dial or the off switch in, turn to the right, and let it pop out. Then hit the on. To elevate the turntable, you need to turn the elevating hand wheel clockwise at all times, either 1/4 of a turn or 1/2 of a turn, depending on the size of the lumber. The primary purpose of a planer is to control the thickness of wood. Never send 2 boards at the same time through the planer. Send 1 board through, wait till it comes to the outfeed table, and then send the second board through. If the board becomes stuck halfway through the cut, take the back edge of the board and move it slightly side to side until the feed rollers pick it up and send the board the rest of the way through. After the boards went through the planer, it actually smooths out the surface like this, so that it actually has the equivalent of 150 grain sandpaper on the front, on the top edge. This is a board, a rough cut board that has not been sent to a planer. When planing long stock, make sure you have an off bearer, either a person or a support stand like we have, to support the lumber and keep it level as it's coming into the outfeed table. When finished planing, turn the machine off and wait until all moving parts have come to a complete stop before you leave the work area. Make sure you also clean the floor around the work area to avoid slipping.